What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Night Owl channel. In this video, I'll be counting down the top 10 most underdeveloped characters within the Dynasty Warriors series. Now, within the series, we know we have a plethora of characters to choose from. Over 90 now since the last game. There are obviously going to be some characters who really don't have any development in their character at all. And in this video, I just want to speak about the top 10 that I believe need the most work. The game doesn't necessarily need more people to play as, but they definitely need to work on the characters that have already been made playable and make their stories or their content more viable within the games. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the top 10 characters that are playable right now that I think need a little bit more development in their character within the story. Let's see what you guys think about my list. Alright, starting off at number 10, we have Wang Yi. Now, Wang Yi was an interesting choice to put on the list, and the reason that she's mainly on here is because her content is very sparse in both games. She only has one, maybe two cutscenes in both Dynasty Warriors 8 and Dynasty Warriors 9. The only thing that the character is known for is, of course, hunting down Ma Chao. There's a lot that you can explore with Wang Yi, having her relationships develop with Xiahou Yuan, or finding ways for her to build more relationships with some of the other female characters, just the other characters in general. Even if it's a fictitious piece of content for her, I feel like Wang Yi is a little bit of a one-note character. She doesn't really have anything else, no other purpose in the game besides that one. And that's why she's starting off the list at number 10. It's obvious what she's there for, it's just that I think she's a little bit underdeveloped. Alright, next up coming at number 9, we have Guo Jia. Guo Jia is an interesting case here, a little bit more underdeveloped than Wang Yi. Because his lifespan is so short, I can see why maybe developing him as a character is pretty difficult. In a sense, I could say that what he has for content is good enough, but for me, Guo Jia, he kind of pops in and out of places, and he's not like a strong, like when Shun Wu became a playable character in Dynasty Warriors 9, he is a main staple. He has a lot to give within that game. And with Guo Jia, it's very similar, but it's still very empty in a way. You know, once the other strategists start to come in, Guo Jia's pertinence within the kingdom starts to dwindle down a little bit. So I would love to see more development with Guo Jia's relationships with like Jia Shu and some of the other strategists. Maybe, you know, mentoring. I mean, I like the cutscene with him and Shun Yo. I think he needs more of that because he falls flat for me with a lot of his scenes and just him bumping in and out of scenes really quickly. But for the most part, he kind of just seems to blend in with the remaining strategists, and I just think Guo Jia deserves a little bit more content for who he is and for what he represents to Cao Cao and the Wei Kingdom. And that's why he's in the list at number 9. Let me know what you guys think about that down below. Next up, coming at number 8, we have Guan Suo. Guan Suo is a good choice for this list because he's a character that is also kind of sparingly put within the game. He doesn't really have a purpose besides more of a like support character. So it'd be good to see him develop more of the relationships with his family or even outside his family or with, you know, Bao Sanyang, whatever that is, you know, just giving him more than just what he's gotten so far. He's been a character since Dynasty Warriors 7, and he's only had a few scenes where he was very important. And even in one of the scenes, he gets knocked out. Like, if he is a character that remains after the death of his father and Fan Castle and all like that, he should be a character that takes up a position similar to Guan Jing. He should be there, like, finding a way to become a leader. It would be cool to see him have that approach. Maybe he's talking to Ma Dai, he wants to get pointers, or Ma Chao before he passes away, or Zhao Yun. Similar to everybody on this list, he's just a very sparing character, doesn't have a lot. But Guan Su, I think, is number 8 for me. Let's go ahead and move on to number 7. Alright, coming at number 7, we have Fa Zhang. So Fa Zhang is a very interesting case. In Dynasty Warriors 9, he almost has a similar role to like Guo Jia. He has one cutscene, which is his ending, which is given to him, and then everything else he's not really a part of. It just seems like he's not as important as he should be. Fa Zhang is this really important character to the Shu Kingdom, and conquering Yi and establishing a land of Liu Bei, of his own for the first time ever. I just feel like Fa Zhang should be a little bit more pertinent in that. He doesn't have a strong presence in the game besides them trying to make him this villainous guy, which I've already talked about. I don't really see, but if they want to do that, they should have a couple cutscenes where it shows that off, because I don't see that. There is ways to build up Fa Zhang. Maybe he interacts with Pang Tong a little bit. How does that look? I'm sure Fa Zhang is someone who can respect somebody like Pang Tong because of what he's known for. I don't know, there's just a lot to do with Fa Zhang. He's a very empty character, and only to me, in my opinion, he just doesn't seem like he's the character that they made him to be. I'm not really sure what kind of character he is. He's definitely there to help. He's definitely a support character, just like Guan Suo, but beyond that, it's like, what else? I mean, he's just there to help with the one battle, and then that's it. Is that really it for him? Maybe we see Fa Zhang before he meets Liu Bei. What does that look like? How is Fa Zhang then? There's a lot to do with Fa Zhang, and I just wish they gave him more. He's definitely a cool looking character, and a lot can be done with him, and that's why he's up here at number 7. Alright, next up at number 6, we have Zhang Chunhua. So Zhang Chunhua, another interesting case. As we get higher and higher, that means these characters, to me, are less and less noticeable within the games. My problem with Zhang Chunhua is that in Dynasty Warriors 9, if they wanted her to be more caring and supportive, or whatever it is, because there was definitely no hints of her personality from Dynasty Warriors 8, why couldn't they go that route? Like, the cutscene with her cameo was great. More of that. Do more of that, right? She looked very caring. She looked like she was looking down upon Sima Yi from above, because that's what it was alluding to. They should have more moments like that. And if her relationship with Wang Yuanji is that important, build more on that. They should also build upon the family aspect as well. What about her conversations with Sima Shi and Sima Zhao? How does that look like? What does she look like when she's talking to them, just them alone? There's a lot to play with Zhang Chunhua. There are pieces to be filled for her. If they deviate away from who she was in Dynasty Warriors 8, she seems to care like a caring person. Very caring, no intimidation, no fear in Dynasty Warriors 9. Build upon that. Use that, build upon that, and just go with it. Because I don't mind that at all. I liked it in Dynasty Warriors 8. I liked the way she was. If you can find a way to mix both of them, that would be great. But she just needs a little bit more content, because for me, it's very sparing right now for her. I'm not really sure. She just kind of disappeared in Dynasty Warriors 9. So hopefully they build upon her, do some more with her. Go ahead and move on to the top 5. Alright, coming at number 5, we have Lu Lingqi. So, she was introduced in Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. I haven't played the game, but I did search up to see if she had a significant amount of cutscenes or appearances, but it seemed like she had one or two moments in Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. Anyway, Dynasty Warriors 9, she gets a couple of cutscenes. The first one is not really, she has her opinion, she says what she says, and then of course she has her ending, but even the conversations with Lu Bu, they didn't really have a lot of substance. There was just nothing there. Lu Lingqi having conversations with Chen Gong or Zheng Liao in Dynasty Warriors 9, again, it was just very sparing. I didn't really know what the purpose of Lu Lingqi was. She wanted to join Lu Bu. That's great. But what else beyond that? Lu Lingqi seems to be a very empty character, and the only reason she's put in there is because of being Lu Bu's daughter. I mean, that's really it. There's nothing else. If this is who you want her to be, if you want her to be Lu Bu's daughter, why not give her a Lu Bu entrance at one point? Emulate that. Right, let's say Lu Bu, he dies, he gets killed, he gets executed by Cao Cao, and Lu Lingqi rises up, and she has an entrance like Lu Bu. She has his weapon or something like that. So that would be really cool to see, because it would be a nice little parallel for her. Other than that, there's nothing else to her. She's just very, very flat. Hope they build on her. She's a very interesting character, and hopefully they give her more to do. Moving on. Alright, coming in at number 4, we have Wen Yang. So Wen Yang, another interesting character, very sparing content. Even, I think he's got like 7 or 8 cutscenes in Dynasty Warriors 8. I would say like half of those is like maybe a couple of sentences. Nothing too big, it's like towards the end of it. But if Wen Yang is supposed to be made out to be the hero of the new age, the new Zhao Yun, he should be developed in a way to where that actually shows. Maybe go a little bit past 3 Kingdoms so we can see Wen Yang become that character. A lot of Wen Yang's really good content comes after the fall and after the game's end. But even up to that point, let's say they don't want to go past that, there's still a lot to do between the time that Shu falls and the time that he joined. Does he really become close with Deng Ai? Does he become close with Sima Zhao? There's these relationships that are missing for these characters, and I think if they just focus on making their relationships more for a lot of the characters on this list, it would make them more significant. Wen Yang is a character that should definitely, his presence is definitely there, the way he's introduced, but then he kind of fades into the background. He's just there to support, but he doesn't say much, doesn't do much. So if they just build upon that, I think it'd be really cool for him. It'd be very good for that character and maybe for other characters around him. But let's go ahead and move on to the top 3. Alright, coming in at number 3, we have Sai Wenji. So Sai Wenji is a very interesting character. She has a very, very dark history. Including her in the game was very interesting. It was an interesting choice. The only thing that she really plays is that she was a captive and Cao Cao rescues her, to my knowledge. That is it. That is the only relevance she has to the game, which is fine. But that means they're going to have to make a lot of fictitious things up. So the relationship with her and Genji and Jin Jianying and her ending, that's great. I love seeing that. Where was that throughout the entirety? Where was that during her story? And if Sai Wenji is a famous composer and she's part of a Warriors game, does she have an arc where she learns martial arts? No? It's a fictitious game. Why not take her that route? And if Sai Wenji has been saved by Cao Cao, where's that relationship with him? Conversating with him when he has time or whatever it is, when it's appropriate. Not just throwing it in there, but making it make sense. So I just think that Sai Wenji is definitely one of the most underdeveloped characters. I don't think she has any other cutscenes in the game besides her ending in Dynasty Warriors 9. If I'm looking at Sai Wenji's folder here, she only has her ending. That is the only cutscene she's part of. And she's been in the game since Dynasty Warriors 7. She is definitely heavily underdeveloped. She needs to get something else. People can't really get a chance of liking her because there's nothing to like. She doesn't do anything. So I think they really need to find a way to get her more involved or just make her a featured NPC. It doesn't seem right to keep her in, but she's not doing anything. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have Jin Jianying at number 2, and it's very similar to what I just said about Sai Wenji. She doesn't really seem to have a purpose. She has a couple of cutscenes in Dynasty Warriors 9, and she has her ending as well. The relationship with her father is good. They've really fleshed that out. Now, what about the rest of the Wei Kingdom, or the Jin Kingdom, whatever kingdom she's supposed to be a part of? If they want to make her a part of Jin, then just make her a part of Jin. Why is her story mainly in Wei, and then at the end, she kind of is part of Jin? It doesn't make any sense to me. Just push her into Jin and make up a different story. There are ways to make it work. I just think that her placement in Dynasty Warriors 9 was very strange. I like the character. She's one of my favorites. I like her weapon style, her looks, but I'm trying to figure out what her significance is within the game because it just doesn't seem to be prevalent. I don't really know what she plays in. From what I've read about her, she does have a little bit of information historically. I just think that within the game itself, with the characters that are already there and the events and the way that they tell the story, Jin Jianying can find a way. They can find a way to put her in somewhere. There are ways to make it happen with the characters in the game because it's already a fictitious type of game. Build those relationships. Make her more prevalent. If she is supposed to be a heroine of some point, because that's what they made her to be in one of the cutscenes, how did she get there? A lot of empty characters right now in this game. Alright, before we jump into the number 1 character, here are a few honorable mentions that I think are underdeveloped. Again, take some of the suggestions that I've already mentioned within the video. Alright, finally coming in at number 1, we have Bao Sanyang. So she has moments within the game. I'm looking at her cutscenes. They're all in Dynasty Warriors 9. She's in Dynasty Warriors 7, Dynasty Warriors. She has a similar problem to Cy Wenji, right? She's been in the games of Dynasty Warriors 7, but 7 and 8, she doesn't play a big role or anything like that. There's nothing there for her. Dynasty Warriors 9, besides Guan Suo's and maybe hers, every other ending or cutscene that she's in is like a couple of words, a couple of sentences, nothing too big. She's there, very supportive type of character, which is fine. That's great. But Bao Sanyang's whole thing is that she didn't want a suitor, or she didn't accept somebody until they beat her in battle. Where's that cutscene? She's just head over heels for Guan Suo after he supposedly beat her in a duel? Where is that? That would be a cool arc to see. Bao Sanyang within the games is like this very lovey-dovey, mushy-gushy kind of character. It would be really cool to see her arc go from badassery, nobody is really worthy of me, to fighting Guan Suo. Guan Suo gets the best of her. Maybe it's a cute little scene. She gets knocked down, he picks her up, and then she realizes that Guan Suo is actually a capable fighter. She becomes smitten with him, whatever. She ends up, you know what, I kind of want to follow you and learn from you and be a part of your journey. Can I come? That would be really cool to see. She doesn't have to be this smitten, kitten, mushy-gushy character that they make a lot of these characters out to be. She can be a real person. But Bao Sanyang is probably the most empty character in this game and the most underdeveloped because she's been in the game since Dynasty Warriors 7, very similar to Cy Wenji, and the only thing she's in there is to swoon over Guan Suo. That's it. That is the only thing. And it's just so empty. I think it would be cool to see the shift in that kind of a character, because I don't think anybody really goes through that. They're either all badass, or they're really sensible, really supportive, or they're like Bao Sanyang and Zhao Chao, very mushy-gushy. I think there's a lot to play with Bao Sanyang. With according to her, what I've read about her, there's a lot to do with her. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the video. There's a lot of characters in this game. There's about maybe 20 or so characters in the game that are kind of underdeveloped. There's even characters out that I didn't really mention at all that could probably use some development as well. And it could just make the game really whole. They don't need new characters. They just need to develop the story and the characters that they have and build upon that. We have 94 characters now. So if they're going to include them still, if they still want to have them in the game, I think it would be a very smart choice to build and make them more significant. It'd make the game so much more interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have for the video, guys. Top 10 most underdeveloped characters. Let me know what you guys think about this list down below. Nobody really talks about these kind of things with this game. This is one of my favorite games of all time. And if I can get a chance to be a part of the development for this game at one point, I would love to, because I know what I would put in the game to make it the way it used to be, the way people used to love the game. Hopefully one day they return to their roots just a little bit, care a little bit more about this franchise, because a lot of people like me and people that watch my videos like this as well. Regardless, I'm ranting. Let me stop. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.